Welcome back, friend. Today, I'm breaking down. This killer is a son-in-law. We open in the Sahel region of Africa, a desolate wasteland that governments have labeled the forbidden zone of death. Vultures circle overhead, bones litter the ground. It's exactly the kind of place where people go to disappear permanently. An armored vehicle is parked near a rocky outcrop, and inside, Zhang Hao and his partner Red Wolf are mid-operation. These two move like shadows, knives drawn, slicing through armed guards without making a sound. Zhang Hao in particular is terrifying. The man takes out multiple soldiers carrying assault rifles using nothing but a combat knife, and he does it so fast the panels blur. But Red Wolf picks up on something. The security is way too light. Only 2 guards on the entire route in. For a target this important, he warns Zhang Hao that something feels off, but they press forward anyway. They reach the inner chamber, find the objective, a sealed case sitting in the middle of the room. Zhang Hao opens it, and the moment the lid comes up, his face drops. It's a bomb. Timer already counting down. 20 seconds. Red Wolf reacts instantly, screaming at Zhang Hao to run. But Zhang Hao hesitates, and that hesitation almost kills them both. Red Wolf physically shoves him toward the exit, blocking the doorway behind him, yelling that if Zhang Hao doesn't move, neither of them will make it out. He's buying time with his own body. Zhang Hao screams his name. Red Wolf just yells one word back. Go! The timer hits 0. The entire base erupts in a massive explosion. And the news hits the dark web almost immediately. The Wolf King, leader of the Wolf Organization, S-rank assassin, the pinnacle of global combat power, dead. Killed in a failed mission in Africa. Comment sections go wild. People can't believe it. The king of assassins gone. But here's the thing. He's not dead. Zhang Hao crawls out of the rubble, barely alive. Red Wolf sacrificed himself so Zhang Hao could survive. And during his recovery, something extraordinary happened. While repairing his shattered meridians, Zhang Hao broke through every limit he'd ever known and reached. Something called the Transformation Realm. A legendary level of martial. Arts that nobody thought was real. So now the world thinks the Wolf King is dead. And Zhang Hao, he decides to keep it that way. He wants a normal life. No more killing, no more missions. He hides his power, conceals his identity, and steps back into the ordinary world. But there's one thing he can't let go of. His father's dying wish. The scene shifts completely. Bright daylight, a bustling train station. Zhang Hao steps out, looking like any random college kid. Messy hair, white t-shirt, backpack slung over one shoulder. He hails a taxi to Wuling City. The driver makes small talk, mentions the Feng family. Apparently they're a huge deal around here. Even mutters that claiming ties with the Fengs is basically impossible for someone dressed like Zhang Hao. They pull up to the Feng residence. This place is enormous. Traditional architecture, luxury cars parked outside. A grand occasion is clearly underway. Zhang Hao walks to the gate and gets stopped by security demanding an invitation. He doesn't have one. He just says he's here to see Feng Wanming, Uncle Feng. He pulls out a photograph of 2 men in military uniforms. One of them is his father, standing shoulder to shoulder with Feng Wanming. Then he presents the wooden box. Inside is his father's military medal. The guards notice the family resemblance and rush inside to tell the master. And inside? Oh, inside it's a whole situation. The Feng family is throwing a massive engagement banquet. Feng Wanming is on stage, wine glass raised, proudly announcing the engagement of his eldest daughter, Feng Yiyun, to Wan Jiming, the young master of the powerful Wan family. This is a political marriage, a business alliance, the kind that makes both families untouchable in Wuling City. Yiyun herself is stunning in a pink dress, gracefully playing the role of the perfect bride-to-be. Then a guard pulls Feng Wanming aside. Someone's here asking for him, with a medal. Feng Wanming opens the box, sees the medal, and his face goes white. He immediately recognizes it. This belongs to the Jiang family. His wife panics. The younger daughter Haoming overhears her mother mention a childhood betrothal between Yun and someone named Zhang Hao. Feng Wanming rushes to the front hall, and the second he sees Zhang Hao, his whole demeanor changes. His eyes light up. He practically runs to him, calling him Haozi, saying he's been searching for him for years. He hugs him tight, saying Zhang Hao's grown into a man. When he asks about Zhang Hao's father, the room gets quiet. Zhang Hao tells him his father passed away 10 years ago. Old injuries caught up with him. Feng Wanming's face crumbles. He blames himself, saying Jiang Hao's father got those injuries saving his life back in the day. Jiang Hao plays it off, says it's all in the past. Then he gets to the point. He's here to fulfill his father's dying wish. His father told him to find Feng Wanming, and everything would become clear. The family comes downstairs. Ye Yun, her younger sister, her mother. Feng Wanming introduces Jiang Hao, reminding Ye Yun they used to play together as kids. The younger sister is immediately hostile, accusing Jiang Hao of trying to climb the social ladder. She snaps that Ye Yun is already engaged to the Wan family's young master. Feng Wanming shuts her down hard. Then Jiang Hao asks the question, "Uncle Feng, what exactly is my father's dying wish?" And Feng Wanming drops the bomb. Years ago, Jiang Hao's father and Feng Wanming arranged a childhood betrothal. Jiang Hao and Feng Yiyun were promised to each other. That is the dying wish. Jiang Hao's eyes go wide. Yiyun covers her mouth in shock. Uncle Feng lays it all out for Jiang Hao. This is the agreement he made with Jiang Hao's father in the past, and he considers it a binding promise. Jiang Hao takes that in, and his first instinct is actually to refuse. He tells Uncle Feng that once you enter the martial world, it's as deep as the ocean. Getting married now would only put people in danger. But before Uncle Feng can even respond, the Feng family's son, Yiyun's brother, explodes. He calls Jiang Hao a hypocrite. In his mind, Jiang Hao only showed up because he heard Yiyun was about to get engaged to the young master of the Wan family. He's screaming about how Jiang Hao is trying to climb the Feng family's social ladder. And then he drops the line that really sets the tone. He calls Jiang Hao a beggar who has no right to be his brother-in-law. Uncle Feng snaps. He threatens to discipline his own son right there. But the brother doubles down, tells his dad to go ahead and beat him to death if he really has the heart to marry off his sister to someone like Jiang Hao. Then Yiyun herself steps forward. Tears streaming down her face, she asks her father directly, "Are you really going to cancel her engagement with the Wan family and force her to marry Jiang Hao instead?" Uncle Feng doesn't flinch. He tells her this marriage was decided 20 years ago, and it cannot be changed. Yiyun breaks. She screams that he's sacrificing his own daughter's happiness for a selfish promise, and she storms out of the room in tears. Heavy scene. Uncle Feng tells Jiang Hao to stay, get cleaned up and rest. Jiang Hao tries to object one more time, but Uncle Feng cuts him off, says he'll figure everything out. That night, while the house sleeps, Jiang Hao is in his room doing something wild. He's sitting cross-legged on the bed, and golden energy is swirling around his body. He's practicing an inner breathing technique, absorbing the chi of heaven and earth, cleansing his marrow, strengthening his organs, sharpening all 5 senses. And he notes to himself that he's on the verge of breaking into the transformation realm. Meanwhile, Uncle Feng has a private conversation with his elderly father, the Feng family patriarch. The old man asks point blank, "Are you really set on marrying Yiyun to Jiang Hao?" And Uncle Feng drops a bombshell. He reveals that Jiang Hao's father died because of him. Years ago, Haozi's dad was severely injured while saving Uncle Feng's life. That sacrifice destroyed his family, and it's the reason the Feng family was able to prosper. The old man gets it. If they break this promise now, they don't deserve to call themselves decent people. But he also hits Uncle Feng with reality. Everyone in Wuling City already knows about the marriage alliance between the Feng and the Wan families. Canceling that engagement is going to bring the Wan family's fury straight down on their heads. Uncle Feng says he'll handle it. The grandfather then sets 3 conditions for Jiang Hao. A 3-month trial period to observe his character. Uncle Feng can't help him from the sidelines. And here's the big one, Jiang Hao has to become a live-in son-in-law. Basically, he moves into the Feng household and lives under their roof like he belongs to their family. Uncle Feng goes to Jiang Hao's room that night. And here's what's interesting. Jiang Hao already overheard enough to understand the situation. Before Uncle Feng can even finish talking, Jiang Hao tells him he won't make things difficult. Whatever Uncle Feng needs, he agrees. Live-in son-in-law? Fine. He accepts all of it. Uncle Feng is visibly emotional. He grabs Jiang Hao's shoulder and apologizes. But inside Jiang Hao's head, he's thinking something completely different. He's agreeing for now to spare Uncle Feng the trouble. But in 3 months, he plans to be long gone from this city. Now the scene shifts to the Wan family mansion. Uncle Feng goes to deliver the news personally, and Wan Guofeng, the head of the Wan family, absolutely loses it. He slams his desk hard enough to crack it. The engagement ceremony was 3 days away. Uncle Feng tries to smooth things over by offering to pull the Feng group out of the Angsan district project as compensation. But Wan Guofeng isn't having it. He accuses Uncle Feng of making fools out of the Wan family in front of all of Wuling City. He points his finger and delivers a threat. The Wan family will make the Fengs pay for this humiliation. Then he throws Uncle Feng out, and then comes the real kicker. The chapter shifts to an internet cafe at night. Jiang Hao is sitting at a computer, and he logs onto a dark web assassination platform. A red butterfly logo on the screen, a site where killers pick up contracts. He pulls up an S-rank mission. The target? The young master of the Wan family. The bounty? 100 million. Chapter 3 opens at the Jin family mansion, and the mood is heavy. Elder Jin has summoned his sons, and he's asking one question. Have they found out who kidnapped Yao Yao? Jin Feng walks in, and the answer is no. They've reached out to contacts on both sides of the law. Nobody knows anything. Elder Jin lays it out plainly. They need to find the kidnappers and prepare the ransom at the same time. Both tracks, immediately. That's when things get messy inside the family. Jin Feng explains that the company has several major projects in their final stages. They simply do not have 500 million available. And then the heavyset brother speaks up with a suggestion that makes Yao Yao's father snap. He proposes they negotiate the ransom down to $100 million. Yao Yao's father, the guy in the glasses, goes off on him. He calls the suggestion irresponsible and throws a question right back. If it wasn't Yao Yao who'd been kidnapped, but your son Jin Feng, would you still say the same thing? And the heavyset brother actually hesitates, then says yes, he would. Elder Jin has heard enough. He slams his hand on the armrest so hard the room goes silent. He shuts them all down and gives a direct order. Find the 500 million. Money can be earned back. If Yao Yao is gone, she's gone forever. Now we cut to the real danger. A grimy warehouse on the outskirts of the city. A white van pulls up, and the thugs drag Yao Yao out. She's bound, terrified. Our MC is right there with her, also tied up. Yao Yao manages to rip off her gag and screams for help, but the thugs just laugh and threaten her in the most vile way possible. She backs against a wall, warning them not to come closer, even threatening to bite off her own tongue if they try anything. The thugs don't care. Their boss tells the crew to stop messing around. It's time for business. And that business? They set up a camera on a tripod. Yao Yao's face goes pale as she connects the dots. They're going to film a murder and send the footage to the Jin family as motivation to pay up. Now here's where the MC enters the picture. He's been standing there this whole time, hands bound behind his back, completely calm. The lead thug notices. He's actually impressed that this guy shows zero fear. He mockingly offers to pass along the MC's last words before they kill him. But there's a catch. The MC has to hand over all his money first. The MC looks at him and says, cool as ice, that he didn't want to resort to killing. So why are they courting death? The thugs burst out laughing. Even Yao Yao thinks he's lost his mind. She's yelling at him to beg for mercy because these guys are serious. The lead thug calls him the dumbest man he's ever seen, bragging at death's door. Then the MC says one word. I agree. The thugs pause. Agree to what? The last words, Fee. Except. And this is where that smirk of his really lands. The ones paying will be them. The thugs are done laughing now. The one they call Second Brother grabs a blade and charges. His crew is hyping him up, saying when Second Brother gets angry, even the King of Hell trembles. The MC breaks free of his ropes like they were nothing. He dodges the strike, and in one devastating move, Second Brother hits the ground. Dead. The whole warehouse freezes. The bald cameraman screams that Second Brother is down. The boss pulls out a gun, aims it straight at the MC, and fires. But the MC is already moving. He kicks the weapon, dodges shots, and tears through these guys like they're made of paper. His eyes are glowing red. That killer instinct is fully unleashed. One by one, they all fall. Gunshots ring out, blades swing through empty air, and the MC is untouchable. The last thug standing, the boss, is trembling on the ground, staring up at a face wreathed in shadow and red light. He chokes out the question, Who exactly are you? The MC leans in close and tells him he's not worthy of knowing. After it's all over, the MC casually takes the cash from the thug's pockets, then catches himself and quips that he collected the last words fee, but forgot to actually ask for the last words. Standing over a warehouse full of bodies, holding a fistful of bills, ice cold, he throws a blade from across the room and slices through Yao Yao's ropes in one clean cut. She's stunned, staring at him with wide eyes. She stammers out a thank you. He barely glances back. Just tells her there's no need to thank him, and not to tell anyone he was there. Then he walks out into the night. Police and ambulances arrive at the scene. Yao Yao is sitting in the back of an ambulance when the Jin family rolls up. She sees her grandfather and breaks down, runs to him, crying, "Grandpa!" He holds her tight. Then the police officer asks the big question. "Miss Jin, what kind of person killed these kidnappers and saved you?" Yao Yao doesn't even hesitate. She tells them the man was masked. She couldn't see his face. When they ask about his build, she describes him as chubby, short, and middle-aged. Basically the complete opposite of what the MC actually looks like. Back at the mansion, Elder Jin sits Yao Yao down privately. He tells her he watched her grow up and knows her personality better than anyone. Then he drops it. "You lied to the police today, didn't you?" Yao Yao admits it. She saw her savior's face, but she refuses to betray someone who saved her life. Elder Jin nods. He respects that she keeps her promises. But he also warns her, the Jin family is a prestigious household. Whether that savior rescued her by coincidence or with ulterior motives, that's still an open question. Yao Yao says she understands. But later, lying alone in her room, she stares at the ceiling and wonders, did he really have an ulterior motive in saving her? So Jiang Hao strolls through those big doors, calm as anything, and Feng Haoming immediately goes off. He's ranting at the grandpa, saying Jiang Hao doesn't take the Feng family seriously, that he only joined them yesterday and already dares to come home this late. And you can feel the venom in it. Haoming genuinely despises this arrangement. Jiang Hao, though, ice cold. He just asks whether the Feng family rules actually have a curfew. Haoming nearly loses it. He gets right in Jiang Hao's face. An older family member has to step in and scold Jiang Hao, telling him that even though he hasn't officially married into the family yet, he should still show basic respect. But Haoming isn't done. He calls Jiang Hao a poor boy with no education and no background, says he's completely unworthy of being his brother-in-law. And then he drops a comparison. He holds up Wang Jiming, Yiyun's former fiancé, as the standard. Says Jiang Hao next to Jiming is like a firefly trying to outshine the moon. And here's the real bomb. Haoming reveals that Jiming's godfather is Lord Lei, the top figure in Wuling City's underworld. He warns the grandpa that after the Feng family humiliated the Wan family by breaking the engagement, Lord Lei is almost certainly going to come looking for payback. The room goes quiet. Grandpa sighs. Uncle Feng pulls Jiang Hao aside afterward, puts a hand on his shoulder, and tells him not to take Haoming's words to heart. Says even if the threats are real, he'll make sure Jiang Hao isn't harmed. And Jiang Hao, he thanks Uncle Feng politely, then looks him dead in the eye and says he's not afraid of people like Lord Lei. If they come looking for trouble, he'll make them regret it. Just matter of fact, no bravado. The grandpa overhears and warns him that young people should know when to be arrogant, because if you lose your life, there's no coming back from that. Jiang Hao doesn't flinch. He excuses himself to his room and walks off, leaving the grandpa to mutter that he hopes this kid doesn't bring disaster to the family. The next morning, Jiang Hao heads out on his own mission, something completely separate from the Feng family drama. He tracks down the old neighborhood where Red Wolf's family used to live. But when he gets there, the house is empty. A neighbor tells him the family moved away about a year ago. Nobody knows where they went. There's just a girl who used to be close with the family, who still comes around every couple of weeks. Jiang Hao's mind is already spinning. Why would Red Wolf's family vanish so suddenly? Could it be connected to the attack on Red Wolf and himself? He pays the neighbor and asks her to call him when the girl shows up. Now here's where the chapter splits into a parallel storyline. We cut to a fancy high-rise hotel, and Wang Jiming is lounging around when his enforcer Chengzi shows up with a full report on Jiang Hao. The intel says Jiang Hao is a high school dropout whose father was Feng Wanming's old war buddy. After his father died from illness and injuries, his mother walked out, and Zhang Hao disappeared. The rumor: he snuck himself abroad to do illegal labor, and now he's crawled back because he heard about the engagement to Miss Feng. Jiming's reaction is pure disgust. He calls Jiang Hao every name you can think of. Trash, worse than a toad, a cockroach. Changzi offers to take Jiang Hao out quietly, right then and there, but Jiming holds him back. He says he wants to try the diplomatic route first. He wants to see Yi Yun, so Jiming meets Yi Yun at a tea house, and this scene is heavy. He asks her point blank whether she's really going to follow her father's arrangement and marry some stranger. Yi Yun explains that Jiang Hao's father sacrificed his life to save hers. This marriage is the Feng family's way of repaying that debt. Jiming gets desperate. He begs her to elope, to run away with him and deal with the fallout later. But Yi Yun shuts it down immediately. She says her father values promises above everything, and if she ran, it would be like killing him. Jiming snaps. He says the Feng family breaking their engagement with the Wan family already made him the biggest joke in all of Wuling. He demands to know who's going to compensate him for that. Yi Yun, emotional but firm, apologizes on her father's behalf. Then she stands up and tells Jiming their relationship is over. He needs to accept that. She walks out. And Jiming sits there for a moment, completely still. Then he picks up his phone, dials Changzi, and says 3 words. Execute Plan B. That night, Jiang Hao gets the call from the neighbor. The girl connected to Red Wolf's family is back. He throws on his jacket, tells Uncle Feng he's heading out, and rushes into the night. He hails a taxi and disappears into the city. So the chapter kicks off with the MC in the back of a taxi, and the driver's buddy is sitting right next to him. The car is heading away from his route entirely. When the MC calls it out, the driver just admits it straight up. Their boss sent them to bring him in. No subtlety, no pretense. They pull up to this big mansion. The driver tells him he has to go inside alone. Adds a little reassurance. As long as he behaves, the boss won't touch him. And the MC? He doesn't flinch. Just steps out of the car and walks right in, cool as anything. Inside the mansion, there's a guy lounging on a couch in a full white suit, swirling a glass of wine. Big bald bodyguard sitting right next to him. The MC asks who they are, and the white suit guy smirks, says he already knows everything about the MC. Calls him Yi Yun's fiancé, the future live-in son-in-law of the Feng family. This is Wang Jiming, and Wang Jiming is seething. He tears into the MC, says a poor loser like him has no right to be near Yi Yun. No right to even approach Uncle Feng. Then he says, losing to someone like the MC is the single greatest humiliation of his entire life. Then comes the demand. Wang Jiming wants the MC to cut off a finger, leave the Feng family permanently, and crawl back to wherever he came from. The MC just looks at him, and then he smiles. Asks one question. What happens if he refuses? Wang Jiming's face twists. He snaps at his bodyguard, Changzi, and tells him to teach this brat some manners. Changzi comes in swinging. A massive fist aimed straight at the MC. They clash, and the impact is heavy. But the MC blocks it. The guard from earlier jumps in too, and they try to rush him together. Mid-fight, someone unexpected bursts through the door. It's Xiao Shu, Uncle Feng's personal driver and bodyguard. He says the master saw the MC leave in a hurry and sent him to follow, worried something was wrong. Now it's Xiao Shu fighting alongside the MC. But here's the thing. Wang Jiming scoffs, mocks that Uncle Feng only sent someone with that little bit of skill. And he's right in a way. Changzi lands a devastating kick that sends Xiao Shu crashing across the room. The MC steps in front of the downed Xiao Shu, tells him to move aside, because from here on, he's done holding back. They take the fight outside to the courtyard. And that's when the MC sees it. A freshly dug pit in the ground. Shovels. Thugs standing around it. These guys didn't bring him here to talk. They brought him here to bury him. One of the thugs taunts him with a proverb. Says there was a road to heaven, but the MC refused to take it. And now there's no door to hell, but he's barged right through. They ask if he's going to jump into the pit on his own, or if they need to force him. The MC's response? He covers his face with one hand. Quietly says he didn't want to kill anyone, so why are they forcing him? One thug charges with a shovel, swings full force. The MC catches it barehanded, then kicks the guy so hard he flies into the pit they dug for him. Another one comes at him. Same result. Bodies are landing in their own grave. Then the real escalation. Chiangxi pulls out a knife, says they'll bleed the MC out slowly. One of the thugs lunges with the blade screaming. And the MC? He catches the knife mid-swing with his bare hand, grabs the blade itself. The thug's face goes white. Complete shock. The MC rips the weapon away, then throws it. And the knife embeds into a stone wall so deep it cracks the entire surface. Rocks shatter on impact. When the dust settles, every single one of Wang Jiming's men is in the pit. The hole they prepared for the MC. He's standing above them, barely winded, staring down with that cold expression. The MC delivers a clear warning, a message for Wang Jiming to remember. Then he turns around and walks away into the night with Xiao Shu, leaving Wang Jiming watching from inside the mansion, shaking. The chapter opens at night. Zhang Hao wraps up unfinished business at the mansion, leaves the guys groaning in the dirt, and tells his driver Xiao Shu to take him across town, to Xiaoyang Road. But once they arrive near a shopping district, Zhang Hao gets out and tells Xiao Shu to go on without him. No escort, no backup. He wants to handle this alone. He makes his way to a small, modest neighborhood. An older landlady sitting outside her shop recognizes him and mentions that the girl already got home a while ago. Zhang Hao thanks her and heads upstairs. He knocks on a door. A young woman answers, cautious, guarded. She asks who he's looking for. Zhang Hao looks at her and says her name, Sun Xin. She immediately gets defensive, says she doesn't know anyone by that name. So Zhang Hao plays his one card. He introduces himself as her brother's best friend and holds out a small jade pendant. The moment she sees it, her whole composure breaks. She recognizes it instantly. It's her brother's jade pendant. Her hands are shaking. She grabs Zhang Hao and demands to know where her brother is right now. And here's where Zhang Hao makes a choice. He pauses. Then, with a calm expression, he tells her that her brother is abroad, stuck overseas for work and unable to come back. He says her brother asked Zhang Hao to come check on her instead. Now, we don't know the full truth about what happened to Sun Xin's brother yet, but that hesitation from Zhang Hao says a lot. Whatever the real story is, he's choosing to protect her from it, at least for now. Sun Xin relaxes, relieved just to hear her brother is okay. She apologizes for being rude and invites him inside, calling him Big Brother Jiang. The apartment is small, barely furnished. Zhang Hao notices a younger guy, Sun Lei, also called Lizi, asleep on a cot. He asks about him, but before Sun Xin can explain, the door bursts open. A guy named Dongzi comes crashing in, out of breath, panicking. He shouts that something terrible happened to Brother Lei. The story comes tumbling out. Sun Lei was running a small fresh produce business, doing fine, minding his own lane. But another vendor showed up, accused him of monopolizing the market, demanded 100,000 in compensation, and told him to clear out. Sun Lei refused, naturally, and got into it with them. The problem? The person backing those vendors is a man called Black Panther. Sun Xin's face goes white when she hears that name. Then the backstory drops. About 1.5 years ago, their mother got seriously sick. Sun Lei had no choice but to take out a high-interest loan from the underground market to cover the medical bills. The lenders tampered with the contract, jacked the numbers up. The family can't even keep up with the interest anymore. And the guy running the entire loan sharking operation? Black Panther, so it all connects. Black Panther has been squeezing this family from every angle. The business, the debt, the threats. And now he's taken Sun Lei hostage, without hesitation. Zhang Hao loads everyone into a car and drives straight to Black Panther's base, a flashy joint called the Passion Flying Bar. When they pull up, he tells Dongzi to stay outside. Sun Xin backs him up, telling Dongzi to listen to Brother Hao because it's dangerous inside. They walk in, and this place is intense. Downstairs is a full-blown underground fighting ring. Spotlights, roaring crowd, money flying through the air. In the ring, a karate master in a white gi is demolishing opponents. This guy was brought in from Japan at serious expense, and he's treating challengers like rag dolls. He just finished knocking someone out cold, and is standing over the body laughing. Upstairs in the VIP section, Black Panther is lounging with his crew. He's a massive, bold guy, covered in tattoos, smoking a cigar, looking like he runs the whole underworld. The man next to him, Lao Jiang, confirms the karate fighter is the real deal. Then, a lackey walks up and tells Black Panther that Sun Lei's sister is here. He smirks, tells them to let her in. Zhang Hao and Sun Xin are brought before Black Panther. Sun Shin nervously calls him Brother Bao, but Black Panther doesn't care about pleasantries. He gets straight to the point. Pay the money, or Son Lei's tendons get severed, and that's when Zhang Hao steps forward. Calmly, without raising his voice, he lays it out. The loan sharking is illegal. Sun Lei didn't borrow anywhere near what Black Panther is claiming. He'll pay 50,000 to settle the real debt. And as for kidnapping Sun Lei, if Black Panther apologizes, they'll let it go. The room goes dead silent. One of Black Panther's guys nearly lunges at Zhang Hao, furious that anyone would dare address the boss so casually. But Black Panther waves him off. He's actually laughing. He says he's been running the underworld for decades, and nobody has ever had the nerve to talk to him like that. So he makes a bet. If Zhang Hao can beat his champion fighter, the karate master in the ring, the entire debt gets erased. And Black Panther will personally kneel down and call Zhang Hao Grandpa. Zhang Hao's expression doesn't change. He just says one word, deal. They walk down to the fighting ring. The karate master is still standing in the center, fresh off his latest knockout, radiating confidence. The crowd is buzzing. Sun Shin is watching from the side, terrified. Zhang Hao strips off his jacket and walks toward the ring. Completely relaxed, like he's about to take a stroll, not fight a professional martial artist. We open back in the ring, and Hayose is squaring off against a martial artist. Big dude, karate guy, headband, screaming as he lunges at him. And Hayose just catches his fist, barehanded, no struggle, no effort. He grabs this man's punch out of the air, twists, and absolutely destroys him. Kicks, strikes, brutal combos. The martial artist goes flying across the ring and crumples onto the mat, bleeding. And then we get a wide shot of the ring. The karate fighter is out cold, but standing behind him ringside is the man himself, Black Panther. Bald, jacked, covered head to toe in tattoos, a cigar hanging out of his mouth. He's watching the whole thing go down. Hayose steps over the unconscious fighter and looks straight at Black Panther. And what he says is cold. He basically calls him out. Someone who hasn't even reached the blood and chi realm shouldn't be considered an expert. That's a direct insult to everything Black Panther thinks he is. Meanwhile, the woman from earlier, the one Hayose came to rescue, is watching in shock, whispering that she had no idea Big Brother Jiang was this strong. And off to the side, there's a well-dressed man with a mustache observing everything quietly, murmuring to himself that Hayose is far from simple. Black Panther climbs into the ring. Hayose doesn't back up an inch. He walks toward Black Panther and tells him to honor the deal. Get on his knees and call him Grandpa. The absolute disrespect, and that's when Black Panther snaps. He whips out a handgun and opens fire, point blank, right at Hayose's chest. The woman screams. Everyone in the venue freezes, but Hayose? He's holding a red apple he grabbed from a nearby basket. The bullet hits, and it literally splits in half against him. The shell casings fall to the floor in 2 clean pieces. He didn't dodge. He didn't block. He just tanked it. And then he says, calmly, that he really didn't want to kill anyone. But Black Panther forced his hand. Black Panther is screaming, unloading more rounds, and Hayose just walks through it. He flicks his wrist. And that apple he was holding? He launches it straight into Black Panther's throat. One shot. Black Panther's eyes go white. He drops dead, right there in the ring. The whole venue erupts. People screaming about murder. Black Panther's henchmen staring wide-eyed, shouting that their boss is gone. 2 of Black Panther's men immediately drop to their knees, begging Hayose for mercy. They're groveling, saying they were deceived by Black Panther, pleading about elderly mothers and hungry children. They'll do anything. That's when the mustachioed man from the crowd steps up. He's calm, collected, clearly someone with connections. He tells Hayose there's a practical problem. The bar has security cameras everywhere. Killing Black Panther on film means trouble, but he offers to make it disappear. He also suggests Hayose can use Black Panther's remaining men to free the kidnapped friend. Hayose asks why he should trust this guy. The man smiles and gives him a straight answer. He's smart, and he'd rather have Hayose as a friend than an enemy. A favor now, a favor later. Mutual benefit. Hayose thinks it over for about half a second and agrees. They shake on it. As Hayose walks out with the woman and Black Panther's former lackey, the mustachioed man watches them leave and mutters that this man is extraordinary, and that they'll meet again soon. The scene cuts to the next day. Bright morning, the Feng family estate. The whole family is at breakfast around a lavish table, but not everyone's thrilled. The younger sister-in-law is openly complaining that it's Haozi's fault. Her older sister has been staying at a hotel and refusing to come home. Haozi ignores her and says he's done eating, heading out for a walk. Uncle Feng stops him. Turns out Yiyun, Haozi's wife, just called and urgently needs a document delivered to her at work. Uncle Feng can't go himself, so he hands the errand to Haozi. The company is called Yiren Mei. The sister-in-law glares at Haozi's back as he leaves, muttering that she'll get him thrown out of the house eventually. Haozi arrives at Yiren Mei Company, a sleek, modern office building. He walks in, tells the front desk he's delivering a document to President Feng, and gets escorted upstairs by a female employee. And here's where the chapter drops its real bomb. In the elevator, Haozi notices a man standing beside him. Cap pulled low, dark sunglasses, long coat. Something about this guy sets off every alarm in Haozi's head. His internal monologue kicks in, and he identifies the man as Black Phantom, and internationally ranked A-class assassin with a reputation as a notorious predator. Haozi watches through the reflection in the elevator doors as Black Phantom exits the building. His mind is racing. Why is Black Phantom in Wuling? What's he hunting for here? The elevator doors close on Haozi's face, and his expression is dead serious. Zhang Hao steps outside the building, and a flashy red supercar comes screeching to a halt right in front of him. Behind the wheel is Feng Haoming, the young master of the Feng family. Haoming rolls down the window with a big grin and invites Zhang Hao to tag along to a racing meetup with his car circle crew. Zhang Hao flatly turns him down, says he's got zero interest in racing, but Haoming knows what button to push. He mentions the prize pool, 1 million, and he'll split it 50-50 with Zhang Hao. That gets Zhang Hao's attention. He's short on cash and he knows it. He confirms the number, Haoming swears he's telling the truth, and just like that, deal made. Zhang Hao hops in. They drive out of the city and into the mountains, arriving at this insane winding track carved through rocky desert cliffs. And the moment Zhang Hao steps out of the car, the other racers start running their mouths. They recognize him immediately. The future live-in son-in-law of the Feng family. The guy who supposedly stole the Wan family young master's bride. The gossip is ruthless. Then this massive, muscular dude pushes to the front of the crowd. And this guy goes way too far. He laughs and says, it's a good thing Zhang Hao's father died, because otherwise, old Feng would never have agreed to marry his daughter off to someone like him. Air changes. Zhang Hao's expression goes cold. He asks the guy to repeat what he just said. The big man doubles down, says he'll say whatever he wants. Zhang Hao doesn't flinch, just gives him a quiet, controlled reply. Haoming leans in and whispers that this is Lei Xiaohu, the illegitimate son of Lord Lei, and that he's not someone you want to pick a fight with. Zhang Hao's response? A small smirk and 2 words. So it's him. Perfect. The race kicks off. 3 cars line up at the starting line on this narrow mountain road. Lei Xiaohu in a gold supercar, Jin Shixuan in a blue one, and Jiang Hao riding shotgun with Haoming driving the red one. The flag girl counts them down. 3, 2, 1. And they're gone. Lei Xiaohu shoots to the front immediately, maxing out his engine torque for raw speed. Haoming panics. He tells Jiang Hao not to chase because it's too dangerous. But then, Lei Xiaohu starts playing dirty, slowing down on purpose to box them in and mess with their car on the narrow track. Haoming is losing it. He says at this rate they'll come in dead last, and that lunatic up front might not even let them get down the mountain in one piece. He yells at Zhang Hao, if you're so good at talking, then you drive. And Zhang Hao does exactly that. Without warning, Zhang Hao reaches over, shoves Haoming into the passenger seat, and takes the wheel, while the car is still moving at full speed on a cliffside road. Haoming screams, asking if he's lost his mind. But from the second Zhang Hao touches the steering wheel, everything changes. He starts drifting through corners that have sheer drop-offs on one side. Haoming is pressed back into his seat in shock. He admits Zhang Hao's maneuvering and drifting are beyond what any professional racer could pull off. He says he originally thought Jiang Hao was just some country nobody, but the man clearly knows how to drive. Up ahead, Lei Xiaohu glances in his mirror and can't believe what he's seeing. He figures Haoming must have somehow improved, and he threatens to flip their car at the next W-shaped turn. And this is where Jiang Hao goes full ice cold. As they're barreling towards that deadly W-turn, 30 meters out, Jiang Hao casually picks up a water bottle and starts drinking. With one hand on the wheel, Haoming almost has a heart attack. But Jiang Hao just tells him to relax. The real show is about to start. They catch Lei Xiaohu at the turn. The road is too narrow to pass, but Jiang Hao forces it anyway, pulling up side by side until the two cars are practically scraping paint. Lei Xiaohu's eyes go wide. He can't process what's happening. He calls Jiang Hao a lunatic and swears he won't lose, even if they both die trying. Haoming's cousin tells him to swing by the Jinghua Hotel. He's already got a table at Heaven Room 9, and he's treating Brother Crow to dinner. He wants Haoming there to celebrate the championship win. Haoming tries to push it off, says maybe another day, but the cousin shuts that down immediately. Get here now. Then Haoming mentions that Jiang Hao's in the car with him. And the cousin perks up, says he's been wanting to meet this mysterious Brother Hao for a while. Bring him along, Jiang Hao. He flat out refuses, says he's not going, but Haoming hits him where it counts. If the cousin goes back and tells the family that Jiang Hao was putting on airs, it's going to reflect badly on Haoming's dad. That's the leverage. And Jiang Hao, reluctantly, agrees. Now while all this is happening, we cut to a hospital. Lei Xiaohu, the guy whose car went flying, is wrapped up in bandages, crying to his mother about the pain. And standing over him is his father, Lord Lei. This man is seething. He wants the Feng family kid's legs broken for what happened. But Xiaohu stops him, says it wasn't Feng Haoming behind the wheel when he crashed. It was Jiang Hao Lord Lei's whole demeanor shift. The live-in son-in-law of the Feng family did this. He tells his men right there, make sure Jiang Hao doesn't see tomorrow's sunrise. And Xiaohu, bandaged up in that hospital bed, has this smirk on his face like he's already counting it as a win. He's thinking Jiang Hao is finished. Cut back to Jinghua Hotel. Haoming and Jiang Hao walk into this private banquet room. Massive round table, lavish spread of food, and about half a dozen guys already seated. These aren't random guests. These are prominent figures in Wuling's underworld. And right in the middle of them sits Brother Crow, a red-haired, broad-shouldered mountain of a man. The cousin introduces Jiang Hao, and immediately the room gets condescending. Someone remarks that you really can't judge a book by its cover. They'd heard the Feng family broke off their engagement with the Wan family for a live-in son-in-law who supposedly looked incredible. But Jiang Hao seems totally ordinary. Another guy makes a crack about the Feng family's ancestral graves emitting green smoke, basically saying, Jiang Hao lucked into his position. The cousin then turns to Jiang Hao and tells him that everyone here is important. And since Jiang Hao is new to Wuling, he should offer a toast to show respect. Jiang Hao's response? 4 words. He doesn't like drinking. The room goes cold. Brother Crow slams down a glass, pours whiskey until it's overflowing onto the table, and tells Jiang Hao that refusing to drink in front of him is a direct insult. Then he goes further, accuses Jiang Hao of ruining the marriage alliance between the Feng and Wan families, which cost Crow business personally. He says he's absolutely going to teach Jiang Hao a lesson tonight. Jiang Hao doesn't flinch. He looks at the overflowing glass and calmly asks, what if he does drink it? Crow leans in, lights a cigarette, and says fine. 1 glass for 1 glass. 10 glasses for 10 glasses. So Jiang Hao picks up the bottle, not the glass, the entire bottle. 3 gin of hard liquor. And he opens it, tips it back, and drinks the whole thing straight without stopping. The room loses it. People are shouting that the bottle holds 3 gin. Even Crow, who's famous as the semi-immortal of wine, couldn't drain that in a single go. But Jiang Hao sets the empty bottle down, slides his glass toward Crow, and says 2 words. Your turn. Crow's pride won't let him back down. He grabs a bottle himself, tilts his head back, and forces the entire thing down. But he's barely holding it together, liquor running down his chin, his body shaking, slamming the bottle on the table while insisting he's fine. Haoming's cousin jumps in, pointing a finger at Jiang Hao, accusing him of hiding his massive alcohol tolerance on purpose to make fools of them. He says even though Jiang Hao is technically his future cousin-in-law, he's siding with Crow on this. And Crow, swaying and furious, threatens to kill Jiang Hao and swings a bottle right at his head. Jiang Hao catches it mid-air. No panic, no effort. Just grabs it out of the air like he's picking fruit off a tree. He looks at Crow and says, "You brought this on yourself." Then in one fluid motion, he smashes the bottle, sending Crow crashing to the floor. The chapter opens with Crow's crew hyping up Machete Chen. The guy's injured from whatever happened before, and his boys are asking if he needs a hospital. But Machete Chen doesn't want bandages. He wants blood. He tells his crew he's going to personally handle this. And he marches toward Jiang Hao with pure murder in his eyes. He draws his blade, tells Jiang Hao to remember in his next life not to mess with people above his weight class, and brings the machete down, screaming for him to die. And then Jiang Hao just catches it, mid-swing, between his bare fingers. The blade is right there against his face, and he's holding it still like it weighs nothing. Machete Chen's expression goes from rage to absolute horror in half a second because he suddenly recognizes who he's looking at. He drops to the ground immediately. Full kowtow, face to the floor. He starts groveling, apologizing, saying he had eyes but couldn't see, begging Jiang Hao to spare him. The complete 180 is wild. Crow, the red-haired hothead who started all of this, is standing there losing his mind. He's screaming at Machete Chen, asking if he's gone crazy. But Machete Chen shuts him down hard. He explains, with genuine terror in his voice, that Jiang Hao is the same man who kicked a Japanese samurai to death and took out Black Panther with a single throwing knife. He saw it happen with his own eyes at the underground boxing arena when he accompanied Master Jiang Wu. That arena was supposed to be kept secret. Jiang Wu himself ordered silence about what went down there. Jiang Hao is completely unbothered. He basically tells Machete Chen, "Good thing you remembered, because otherwise you'd already be dead." Then he waves them off like they're gnats, says to leave and stop interrupting his meal. But Crow can't let it go. His pride won't let him walk away. He blocks the exit and starts throwing money around, offering $1 million to anyone who attacks Jiang Hao. He calls him nothing but a pathetic live-in son-in-law of the Feng family. And sure enough, a few guys see dollar signs and rush in with blades drawn. That goes about as well as you'd expect. Jiang Hao cuts through them so brutally the panels are literally censored. Machete Chen steps up and warns everyone that if anyone disrespects Mr. Jiang again, they'll end up the same way. Crow finally retreats, dragging his beaten men out the door, swearing over his shoulder that this isn't over. Now here's where the chapter takes a dark turn. The scene shifts completely. We see a news report on a phone. A top female student from a middle school was found murdered the night before. The police are urging women to stay indoors for safety. And then we see who's reading that news. A man sitting in a luxury apartment in a bathrobe, sipping red wine with this disgusting smirk on his face. He makes a sickening remark about the victim, revealing that he's the one who did it. This guy is pure evil. His phone rings, someone called alluring on his contacts. He answers, and the person on the other end asks if he's gotten his business done. The bathrobe guy reveals he's been hunting for whoever killed his brother Black Panther, and he swears to make them pay no matter what. The caller scolds him for chasing women instead of doing real work and drops a warning. Huakia is the birthplace of martial arts, and hidden masters are everywhere. Don't get reckless. Then comes a major intel drop. Someone called Black Butterfly has confirmed that 3 S-rank assassins hired by the Coles family have entered Huaxia territory. The bathrobe guy reacts with excitement. Apparently there's a target named Zhuo Qiubai, who won't be able to escape this time. The caller warns him that Huaxia is currently the focus of the entire dark world, and to keep a low profile. He brushes it off. A subordinate arrives and delivers the information he's been waiting for. The person who killed Black Panther is named Jiang Hao, a live-in son-in-law of Feng Ming's family. The second master scoffs at this, mocking Jiang Hao's status. But then the subordinate mentions something else. Jiang Hao's fiancée, Feng Yi, is stunningly beautiful. The second master pulls up her photo on his phone, and his expression turns predatory. He declares he'll capture Feng Yi, torment her in front of Jiang Hao, and then kill them both. The chapter then shifts to Jiang Hao on his own, walking through an antique market. He's got some leftover money from helping Red Wolf's family, and wants to find a nice ancient painting as a gift for his master. He spots a traditional-style shop called Longyan Pavilion, and heads inside. Inside, there's a crowd admiring a painting called Picture of the Green Pine, supposedly a genuine work by the Wu Dynasty painter Zhang Guyang. Everyone's fawning over it, calling it a true masterpiece. And then Jiang Hao speaks up, completely casual. This painting is a fake. The room goes silent. The shopkeeper gets defensive immediately. Their establishment is a time-honored brand, and making that kind of accusation carries consequences. But Jiang Hao doesn't flinch. He fires back calmly, what's real can't be fake, and what's fake can't be real. There's nothing to slander here. The shop clerk tries to block him, says the boss, Zhou Changsheng, is in a private meeting on the 5th floor and isn't seeing anyone today. But Jiang Hao doesn't even slow down. He grabs the painting, tucks it under his arm, and starts walking up the stairs. If he won't come down, I'll go to him. The clerk is panicking behind him. But there's no stopping this guy. Up on the 5th floor, Jiang Hao walks straight into a room where Zhou Changsheng, this elderly man with a long white beard, clearly a heavyweight in the antique world, is sitting with 2 other senior appraisers. And the moment they see Jiang Hao, the mood shifts. They tell him he's caused trouble, and he'd better apologize fast before Brother Zhou gets serious. Jiang Hao doesn't flinch. He unrolls the painting right on the table and says, "Go ahead, reappraise it. If it turns out he's wrong, they can do whatever they want to him." Zhou Changsheng pulls out a magnifying glass, examines the brushstrokes, and declares it authentic. A genuine work by the painter Zhang Guyang. The other 2 experts lean in, inspect it, and back him up completely. One of them even starts mocking Jiang Hao, saying he's either deliberately slandering the shop or too ignorant to know what he's looking at. But Jiang Hao stays totally relaxed. He sits back and points at a specific section of the painting, the pine tree branches. He tells them to look carefully right there. The old man scoffs, says there's nothing wrong with it. It's obviously fine. And that's when Jiang Hao drops his reasoning. He admits the painter who copied this is incredibly skilled. Good enough that even he almost got fooled. But here's the thing. The only flaw in this forgery is that it's too perfect. Zhang Guyang's real paintings always have tiny, hard-to-spot imperfections between the brushstrokes. This copy has none. 0 blemishes. And in the world of traditional painting, that level of perfection is itself the proof of a fake. Because a copy that surpasses the original can't be the original. Zhou Changsheng's eyes go wide. He immediately calls downstairs on the phone and orders someone to bring up an authenticated Zhang Guyang painting and a 10x magnifying glass. When they arrive, both paintings are placed side by side on the table. All 3 experts crowd around with their magnifying lenses, comparing the brushwork stroke by stroke, and the realization hits them like a truck. Jiang Hao was right. The copier actually surpassed the original painter. These old men who've spent decades studying calligraphy and paintings couldn't tell the difference with their naked eyes, but Jiang Hao spotted it at a glance. The room goes quiet. Zhou Changsheng admits it's shameful. Now Jiang Hao calmly reminds them. The shop's policy was triple compensation for any fake sold. So it's time to pay up. But instead of asking for cash, he says he'll just take a painting of equal value. He picks one worth around 2 million, and since his compensation doesn't quite cover it, Zhou Changsheng offers to personally cover the remaining 800,000. No repayment needed. Jiang Hao raises an eyebrow, asks if there are strings attached, but the old man shakes his head. He says he simply wants to be friends. He's realized that Jiang Hao's naked eye vision is at least 10 times sharper than a normal person's, which means his martial cultivation must be extraordinary. Making a friend like that for 800,000? Zhou Changsheng figures he's the one getting the bargain. Jiang Hao accepts. Just like that, new ally secured. But of course, when Jiang Hao gets back to the Feng family home carrying this valuable painting, nobody rolls out the red carpet. Uncle Feng invites him to sit for dinner and immediately notices the scroll. He asks where Jiang Hao got it, and when Jiang Hao says Longyan Pavilion, Uncle Feng tenses up. He warns that Antique Street is crawling with fakes. Jiang Hao assures him he's already appraised it. It's authentic. That's when the mother-in-law explodes. She demands to know where Jiang Hao got money for a painting when the Feng family hasn't given him a cent. A younger family member tries to jump in and explain that Jiang Hao helped him win a race, but she screams at him to shut up before he can finish. Jiang Hao explains calmly. He found a fake at the shop. Got compensation, and Elder Zhou covered the rest because he wanted to befriend him. The mother-in-law laughs in his face. Calls it pure lies. Zhou Changsheng is a famous figure in the antique world. Why would someone like that want help from a nobody son-in-law? She turns to Uncle Feng and flat out says, This man has character issues. My daughter Yiyun cannot marry him. Jiang Hao sets down his glass. He says simply, he's telling the truth, and if they don't believe him, that's on them. Then he stands up, excuses himself, and walks out of the room without another word. Behind him, the mother-in-law seethes, but Uncle Feng watches him go with a different expression entirely. In his mind, he's thinking about the debt he owes. He owes Jiang Hao's father a life, no matter what. He can't abandon this kid. He resolves to find a chance to talk with Jiang Hao privately. Meanwhile, back at Longyan Pavilion, Zhou Changsheng is still staring at that painting. His disciple Han Feng walks in with a report. He's confirmed that Jiang Hao is indeed the live-in son-in-law of the Feng family. And from the look on Zhou Changsheng's face, this old man already has plans brewing. He saw something in Jiang Hao today that goes way beyond sharp eyesight. And whatever he's scheming, it's going to pull our guy deeper into a world where his hidden abilities won't stay hidden for long. So after Black Phantom delivers his threat and walks out, Jiang Hao is processing the situation. He recognizes that Black Phantom views the Feng family as his vulnerability. That's where the enemy will strike first. So he shelves his personal errands and decides to stay close. And then, right on cue, Feng Zitong shows up. The sister-in-law. She rolls into the restaurant with her little crew of friends, and she is heated. She's accusing Jiang Hao of deceiving her parents and her grandfather, calling him morally corrupt. Her blonde friend chimes in, mocking the famous live-in son-in-law. They're all feeling real brave right now, but Jiang Hao doesn't flinch. He crosses his arms, looks dead at them, and tells them flat out, the people Feng Zitong is hanging around? They're involved in drugs, and sooner or later, they're going to get arrested. He even tells her to go back to school and stop wasting her time with these types. Her friends blow up, calling it slander, saying he's got a death wish. But Jiang Hao just holds that calm stare and tells them deep down they know the truth. Feng Zitong's crew is furious. The blonde kid rallies the group, shouting about teaching Jiang Hao a lesson. They follow him out into an alleyway. Bad idea. Because the moment they step into that back street, two vans come screeching to a halt right in front of Jiang Hao. Doors fly open. Men in suits pour out carrying pipes and bats. And leading them is a mountain of a man. Long hair, ornate shirt, absolute killing intent in his eyes. This is Brother Crazy, Lord Lei's #1 enforcer. Feng Zitong's crew recognizes him immediately, and the color drains from their faces. Feng Zitong panics. Despite everything, Jiang Hao is still her brother-in-law. She begs her friends to go plead with Brother Crazy, to ask him to let Jiang Hao go. And these guys? They refuse. They say they can't help, and they don't want to. One of them even says, if Jiang Hao dies, at least Feng Zitong's sister won't have to stay married to him anymore. Cold. Meanwhile, Brother Crazy grabs Jiang Hao by the collar. He explains why they're here. Jiang Hao caused Lord Lei's son Xiaohu to crash his car and get hurt. And the payment. They're going to sever his tendons and cripple him permanently. Jiang Hao looks at this giant surrounded by armed thugs, and he smirks. He tells Brother Crazy, go ahead. He'll stand right here and won't move an inch. Come at him. Brother Crazy takes the bait. He lunges with a blade, screaming for Jiang Hao's life. And Jiang Hao drops him in a single hit. One strike. Brother Crazy goes flying. Crashes into the van so hard, the vehicle skids sideways. He's on the ground, bloodied, gasping, and his own men are scrambling around him yelling, Boss! He can barely get the words out, telling them to grab him and run because they're completely outmatched. Feng Zitong and her friends are frozen. They just watched Lord Lei's most feared fighter get dismantled by the guy they were mocking 5 minutes ago. The blonde kid is pale, stammering that they'll never cause trouble again. Jiang Hao glances over his shoulder with cold eyes and delivers one final warning. If he catches any of them near Feng Zitong again, they're done. With that handled, Jiang Hao heads to an office building. He knocks on a door, and sitting behind the desk is a beautiful woman in pink, his wife, Feng Yixue. She looks up and asks what he wants. And it's clear. The conversation is about Elder Zhou's banquet invitation. The one the Feng family has been dreaming about for years. The chapter opens with Yiyun confronting Jiang Hao directly. She asks if he's really that opposed to marrying her, and Jiang Hao doesn't sugarcoat it. He tells her straight up, given the choice between marrying her and dying, he'd pick death. Cold, right? But then he actually tries to be decent about it. He tells her he'll give her freedom, and swears an oath that he'll never take her as his wife. But Yi-yoon doesn't trust words. She pulls out an annulment agreement and tells him she won't believe anything unless he puts his signature on it. And Jang Hao? He doesn't even hesitate. He picks up the pen and signs it right there. Now here's the thing. Once he hands her the signed document, he actually shows concern. He tells her she should go home because it's not safe outside. Remember, Jiang Hao knows there are dangerous people out there connected to the underworld mess he's been dealing with. But Yoon barely registers the warning. She says she'll head back after work, and the second Jiang Hao walks out of the room, she's already dialing up Jiming. She's giddy, telling him the engagement is officially done. And Jiming is thrilled, telling her he can't wait to see her. Night falls. Back at the family home, everyone's sitting around the dinner table, and someone notices Yi-yoon hasn't come back yet, even though she said she would. They tell Jang Hao to give her a call. He tries. The phone goes straight to an unreachable tone. That detail hits different when you know what's happening on the other side of town, because Yi-yoon is out with Jiming. They're walking together outside some upscale building, and Jiming is laying it on thick, telling her how beautiful she is, saying he wants to marry her right now. Yi-yoon plays coy, says she's traditional, and wants to wait for the wedding night. And Jiming is eating it all up, thinking he's hit the jackpot. Then out of nowhere, a figure drops from the sky. Cap pulled low, sunglasses covering his face, long coat, and a grin that screams trouble. Jiming demands to know who this guy is, and the stranger just smirks and says they'll find out soon enough. Before either of them can react, this guy moves with terrifying speed, landing strikes on both of them. Jiming's body locks up completely. He can't move a single muscle. He recognizes the technique immediately. Acupoint strikes. This isn't some street thug. This is a trained martial artist, the mysterious attacker, who the subordinates call Second Lord, has his muscle, a guy named Xiangzi, drag both Jiming and Yi-yoon to an abandoned factory on the outskirts of town. When they arrive, Jiming spots Xiangzi and recognizes him instantly. He's stunned. Clearly didn't expect someone he knows to be involved in this. The Second Lord's crew explains the situation. Jiming is the one who used dirty tricks to seize Brother Bao's properties and helped clear Jiang Hao of murder suspicion. And the Second Lord. He's Brother Bao's actual biological brother. This is a revenge play. He's here for blood. Jiming panics and tries to name-drop his way out of it, shouting that his godfather, Lord Lei, runs Wuling and they'd better release him. The Second Lord's response? He pulls a blade, slices Jiming's ear clean, and watches him scream. Yi-yoon tries threatening him with the police, warning that this is assault. The Second Lord couldn't care less. He mentions that a girl was recently attacked and killed. His master's doing. And that's when it clicks for Yi-yoon. She realizes this is exactly the kind of danger Jang Hao was warning her about when he told her to stay. Home! The Second Lord turns his attention fully to Yi-yoon. He grabs her face, taunting her, making disgusting threats about what he plans to do once Jiang Hao arrives. I want Jiang Hao to watch. Yi-yoon tells him he'll face retribution for this, but she's terrified. Then the Second Lord makes the call. He dials Jiang Hao directly, tells him his fiancée is in his hands, and gives him 1 hour to show up. Or else. He doesn't even try to hide what he's implying. Cut to Jiang Hao, sitting on his bed, phone pressed to his ear. His eyes are sharp, focused. He tells the Second Lord point blank to let Yi-yoon go, or he'll make him regret it. Then without another word, he moves to the window, and in one fluid motion, he leaps out into the night. We get this gorgeous shot of his silhouette against the full moon, soaring across rooftops, tearing through the city skyline like a man on a mission. Do you want to watch next part? Please comment. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos.